Good evening, sir.
Good evening to one and all. So, can anyone tell me, Darshan, how much we have seen in the last class? What was our first last discussion?
Yes, sir. In last we discussed about characteristics and you explained the loading effect.
So, we have seen that equation and characteristic as well.
No, sir. Equation નથી જોયું. Only we discuss about loading effect because we don't know about loading effect. That you explain what is a loading effect and you define it.
Okay, fine.
Okay, sir.
All of you put your enrollment number and name in the chat box.
Yes, sir.
Uh, so, in the last class, we were discussing about what this loading effect is and how loading effect generally affects the measurement. So now we will discuss its relationship with your yeah, just a minute. Okay. Now we'll discuss about how the internal resistance of your voltmeter and whenever you connect any voltmeter in your load, at that time how that voltmeter affects your overall measurement. In the last class we have seen that ideally the internal resistance of any voltmeter, that is what we generally call it as Rm, it has to be infinite. Rm has to be infinite, it means it has to be very high. Ideally it has to be infinite, but it is not possible, so we need to select Rm which is very high. But if Rm is non-infinite, which is true in all case, then how Rm, the value of Rm affects your overall measurement? That is what we want to derive. So for this, we will look at this particular figure. Here, this is your RP. RP is nothing but your potentiometer. The potentiometer or your displacement resistive transducer, both are one and the same. So this is your displacement transducer. This is your transducer T. Suppose the resistance of this transducer is denoted by RP. This is what RP is. The overall length or the total length of the potentiometer is denoted by xt. The moment of the wiper, this is your wiper. This is your wiper, which is movable element, while this is the fixed end of the wiper. So with respect to the fixed end, suppose the movable end reaches to a certain position due to which the total travel of the movable wiper is denoted by xi. Clear? If we compare the same thing with the standard nomenclature which we were used earlier, then this is the total length denoted by L, and this is the displacement denoted by either L or D or xi. તમે જે વસ્તુ કહો, D means displacement, L means you can also say this is the length which is traveled by the wiper with respect to the fixed end.
Small L.
Yes. Now in this case, if we okay. Now EI, that is the source of excitation, and E0 is the output voltage. Now if you want to identify the resistance or the effect of this sliding contact, then we are going to put a voltmeter over here. Now this is a voltmeter which has an internal resistance called Rm, and this is the deflection which is denoted over the denoted by means of the pointer which displaces with respect to the fixed position. Now in this case, we want to see the effect of this Rm over the entire measurement process. That is what our task is. આખે આખું આ છે એ પોટેન્શિયોમીટર છે. આ એના ફિક્સ્ડ કોન્ટેક્ટની રેફરન્સમાં મૂવ થતું સ્લાઇડર છે અને એની એક્રોસમાં મળતો આઉટપુટ E0 છે. આપણે જોવું છે કે RM છે એની ઓવરઓલ મેઝરમેન્ટ ઉપર ઇફેક્ટ શું થાય છે. આપણે એક વખત ખાલી ડિસ્કશન તો કર્યું લાસ્ટ ક્લાસમાં, but that was just the discussion. Now we want to find out the equation, the relationship between the two. Okay, so first we have to reduce the overall circuit. આ circuit ને આપણે ઓછી કરીએ, નાની કરીએ. So first reduction is over here. આ circuit આમાંથી આ છે. હવે now if you want to see this, you can see that there are two resistance. One is this, second is this. Suppose if this is total R, આપણે ખાલી example લઈએ, then this is what R1 and this can be R2. You can see this. If this is the total R, if the slider is somewhere over here, then you can say that R is nothing but the combination of R1. This is the resistance which exists between these 2 points, and R2 is the resistance which exists between these 2 points. So I am writing R1 is over here, R2 is over here. Now what is the value of R1 and R2? Suppose if the value of R, say it is 10K, then what is the in this case, suppose this movement xi, due to this xi movement, suppose R2 gets a value of say 6K, then R1 is obviously 4K. This is the simple thing. So 10 is the combination of 4 plus 6. But how will you now, if you want to write this particular thing in this way, then how can you write? Now what is this 6 and 10? This you can say that it is nothing but it is like this, 6 by 10. It is the ratio. Suppose if the 6K is the resistance which you are getting due to the slider displacement of 6 centimeter, and 10K is the resistance which you are getting due to the overall પોટેન્શિયોમીટર લેન્થ, that is 10 સેન્ટીમીટર. ધારો કે આ જે છે ટોટલ લેન્થ એ 10 સેન્ટીમીટર હોય. 10 સેન્ટીમીટરના લીધે રેઝિસ્ટન્સ આવે છે 10 કિલો ઓહ્મ. અહીંયા 6 સેન્ટીમીટરની મૂવમેન્ટ થાય છે, તો એની કારણે કેટલો રેઝિસ્ટન્સ આવે 6K. આ બાકીની કેટલી વધી 4 સેન્ટીમીટર. So if I'll take this ratio 6 by 10, clear, that is xi by xt. If I'll take this ratio xi by xt multiply by total resistance, that is R, then I can find out what is the value of R2. R2 is equal to xi. Xi means 6K divided by 10K. Oh, sorry, 6 centimeter divided by 10 centimeter into 10K. So 10 will go, centimeter will go, so output will be 6K. Clear? So this is how you can find out that this is, આપણે પહેલા ઇમેજિન કરી લીધું કે 6K છે જ, પણ એકચ્યુઅલમાં આનો રેશિયો છે એ 6/10 હતો. એટલે ઘણી વખત આ 10 સેન્ટીમીટર ન હોય પણ આ 20 સેન્ટીમીટર છે, અને આ મૂવમેન્ટ છે ધારો કે એ છે 15 સેન્ટીમીટર હોય, then also 15 by 20, and then multiplying it by the total RP, you can identify this particular resistance. Now if this is 6K, now 6K is nothing but how you can find out this? You can find by taking the ratio of xi and xt. Now in this case, this ratio is denoted by K. આ રેશિયોને એક નામ આપ્યું છે K. So it means if I want to write down the equation of R2, what I can write is R2 is equal to K into RP. K into RP, this is K, that is your factor, and R is nothing but this is your RP. So it means here R2 is what? K into RP. Now what is R1? So as I have mentioned, if it is 6K, then it is 10 minus 6. So that is your 4K. So R1 is equal to RP minus KRP. R2 is KRP. RP is your total resistance. So after 10 minus 6 kariye, then you are getting 4. In this case, it is I'm writing in equation form. So RP minus KRP, RP common, so it becomes 1 minus K into RP. So that is your R1. I think it is one of the way for reducing your circuit. Here I have divided in two parts, and by understanding this particular thing, you can see how this circuit is reduced into this particular circuit. આના બે ભાગ આ રેઝિસ્ટન્સને બે ભાગમાં વહેંચી દીધો અને એની માટે જે આપણે રેફરન્સ લીધો છે that is K, and K is nothing but the ratio of output displacement, that is Xi, divided by total length of your potentiometer, that is Xt. Now Rm will be as it is. Now further I am reducing this circuit like this. So in order to reduce this circuit, what I am going to do is, now here this KRP, if you look from this side, what you can see is this 1 minus KRP and KRP, that is R1 and R2, both the resistances look parallel. R1 is in parallel with R2. R1 is in parallel with R2. Clear? From this side, if you look at this, if you remove this load and if you try to find out the equivalent resistance, what you can see is R1 and R2 looks parallel. So what I am going to do is find out the parallel combination of R1 and R2, that is 1 minus KRP in parallel with KRP. If you find out that, if you reduce it, then you can get the RO, that is the output, equivalent total resistance. So in this case, it is K 1 minus K into RP. Likewise, you can find out the EI dash. EI dash is nothing but the input which you are expecting between the two terminal. So just like this, this RP, just like the R2, here you can find out EI dash. Again, it is nothing but the combination of Xi by Xt into EI. So that is nothing but K into EI. So overall reduced circuit looks like one excitation, that is denoted by EI dash, one equivalent output resistance, and one equivalent or one voltmeter internal resistance, that is denoted by Rm. This is the simplified circuit. આપણે જે કઈ સ્ટેપ જોયા એ તમને ફરી વખત એક વખત બતાવી દઉં જે મારી રીતે મેં સોલ્વ કરેલા છે. સો till now અહીંયા સુધી ખ્યાલ આવી ગયું છે દરેકને. I hope કે this is R1 and this is R2. Now if you want to identify, what I am going to do is find out the parallel combination of R1 and R2, that is KRP in parallel with 1 minus K into RP. So KRP 1 minus K into RP upon KRP plus RP minus KRP. So if you simplify this, you can find out the RO. So RO, you can see it is RO is equal to K into RP in bracket 1 minus K. So that is over here, K 1 minus K into RP. Second thing, you can find out the EI dash. EI dash is generally given by Xi by Xt into EI. So Xi by Xt is nothing but K. So EI dash is equal to K into EI. So here, this is the second equation. EI dash is given by K into S. So simplified circuit is EI is replaced by EI dash. So here you have this circuit. Simplified circuit, this is EI dash, this is RO, and this is RM. Only three components left. Now looking at this circuit, again our interest is we have to find out the EO, that is the output which you are getting across the RM. So the equation is just by applying the voltage divider rule, EO is given by your excitation, that is EI dash, multiplied by that particular resistance, so that is RM, divided by the total resistance, that is RO plus RM. Very simple equation, or a simple voltage divider rule. ક્યારે કોઈ પણ voltage divider rule એમ કહે છે જ્યારે કોઈ resistance ને acrossમાં voltage જોઈએ તો input excitation multiply by resistance divided by the total resistance. તો આ જ equation નો ઉપયોગ કર્યો છે. Now EI dash I am going to take on the other side. EI dash ને આપણે અહીંયાથી આ side લઈ લીધું from here to here. So EI dash comes over here, so the ratio is E0 by EI dash. Now again I am dividing the whole equation, denominator and numerator by RM. So here RM by RM, so 1, RM by RM, so 1, RO by RM, so 1 upon 1 plus RO by RM. Again what I am doing is EI dash is equal to K into EI. So I am going to put this equation over here. So EI will be on here while I am taking K on the other side, so K is over here. 1 plus RO is equal to K into 1 minus K into RP, and RM will be as it is. So the overall equation is like this: EO by EI is equal to K upon 1 plus K in bracket 1 minus K into RP by RM. This is called the entire output equation, which includes the effect of RM over the entire which includes the effect of RM over your output voltage. Now simply if you see this equation, now imagine if you are having a voltmeter which has an internal resistance RM of infinite, then what will be the output? કોઈ કહી શકશે? Anyone?
Zero.
Overall equation માં શું થઈ જશે? RM infinite લખશું તો see in this equation, if I am going to put RM infinite, it is 1 by infinite. 1 by infinite means this particular term only becomes 0.
Yes, sir,
term,
0.
yes, K is correct. Okay, so this term becomes 0. So only left, you have only K. That is the final thing which is left. So if I write this equation, what is E0 is equal to, now K is the ratio of Xi by XT into EI. હવે if you can remember the last equation, આપણે એક આવું equation લખ્યું હતું, small l by capital L into input excitation, that is your output voltage. પહેલું જ equation જ્યારે આપણે resistive transducer ની શરૂઆત કરી ત્યારે આપણે આવું એક equation લખ્યું હતું કે જે ભાઈ જે small l છે, જે તમારી deviation છે અથવા displacement છે, divided by total length into excitation. બરાબર, આ સેમ ઇક્વેશન છે. યુ કેન સી અહીંયા એલ ની જગ્યાએ આપણે xi છે, કેપિટલ એલ ની જગ્યાએ xt છે, ei, that is as it is. It means RM is infinite. In that case your ideal equation is applicable in this case. Ideally તો એમ જ કહે છે કે જ્યારે ઇનપુટ ની જ્યારે પોટેન્શિયોમીટર ની ટોટલ લેન્થ ફિક્સ હોય, ઇનપુટ એક્સાઇટેશન ફિક્સ હોય, in that case your output totally depends on the displacement on the output side, or displacement by which the slider moves from the fixed position. That is true. That is the ideal equation. But as we have seen, ideal things are not possible. That's why what we are looking at is, we are looking at a component which is not infinite, Clear? So this is not infinite. It means now your output also, in addition to the K is Xi by Xt, that is small l by capital L. So it depends on the value of K. K generally depends on the value of Xi. Xi, that is nothing but your displacement D. It means your output not only depends on the value of your displacement, but it also depends on the value of RM. Clear? Now see what this factor says. It is Rp by Rm. It means higher the Rm, lesser the value of this particular factor, which is denoted by Z. Rm જેટલો વધારે રાખશો એટલી Z ની વેલ્યુ ઓછી થશે. અને Z ની વેલ્યુ જેટલી ઓછી થશે એટલો આ ટર્મ છે ઇનસિગ્નિફિકન્ટ બનશે. આ ટર્મ જેટલું ઇનસિગ્નિફિકન્ટ બનશે એટલે તમારો આઉટપુટ વોલ્ટેજ ઇઝ ટ્રાઇઝ ટુ બી લાઈક ધી આઈડિયલ વેલ્યુ. પણ જો RM ની વેલ્યુ ઓછી હશે then this term becomes significant. Again RM ની વેલ્યુ અહીંયા કોની સાથે કમ્પેર કરવાની છે with respect to RP. RP કરતા તમે RM ની વેલ્યુ બને એટલી વધારે રાખો જેથી કરીને પણ મેઝરમેન્ટમાં એરર ઓછી આવે. Clear? This is what your output equation looks like. Now if you draw the same thing in the characteristic curve, this is the same equation which I have written over there. Age equation છે. Clear? Now this factor is generally denoted by Z. So here I have written. આપણે પહેલા જોયું એમ કે when Z is 0 means when RM is infinite, at that time Z is 0. Now when Z is 0 at that time, this is the ideal curve. This is the ideal characteristic. But as the Z keeps on increasing, in case when RM is not infinite, when RM is not infinite, it means now Z becomes significant. Now as the value of Z keeps on increasing, you can see that your output characteristic deviates from the ideal value. Clear? This is what the loading effect mean, and this is how the loading effect gives an error in the entire measurement process. Lastly, I have listed certain advantages and disadvantages. As we have seen, the setup itself, it shows it is very inexpensive. What we have mentioned is either you can use a rheostat for getting the translational motion, or for the rotational motion you can use the potentiometer. So all these components are available at a lesser cost, and the setup is very simple. With this arrangement, it is possible to measure large displacement. Generally, this circuit generates sufficient output with which you can drive the control circuitry. Sometime, as while we have started our discussion, I pointed out that measurement is generally performed for two actions. One is just to get the sense of the system, and second is to generate certain control action. So sometime if your output with that output, if you want to drive certain actuator, if you want to drive certain recorders, at that time sometime you need to put certain intermediate amplifiers or intermediate circuitries, but with resistive transducer it is not needed. With resistive transducer you can hope for good frequency response and resolution. Can anyone tell me what does frequency response mean in the resistive transducer?
Response fast.
Okay, good. Fast response.
Fast response, frequently fast response. That is
Okay.
good frequency response.
So small change में भी response अच्छा होगा इसका.
Yes, good. Small change may be response अच्छा, good. So what it says, good frequency response means it is like a dynamic response. So both the statement, one of the statements says that good dynamic response means whenever the input is changing rapidly, your system is capable of responding those fast acting changes. And second, resolution means it can detect the smaller change in the input. Like we have certain disadvantages as well. It is mechanical. There are certain motion which you are hoping, so that's why that generally results into the friction. As we have sliding contact, it may induce certain electrical noise, wear and misalignment. It also results into some friction. And as if it is a resistive element, you always hope for I square R drop, that is your rise in temperature or heat dissipation. Now this is one of the example which generally you can go through while using or while studying this particular point. This will give you the idea about how the internal resistance of the voltmeter induces certain error in the entire measurement process. So let's see what this particular example mean. It is a potentiometer transducer in which you have a total resistance of potentiometer called RP. It is 24 kilo. This example is already given. I already put the entire chapter from Arun K. Ghosh in the class material of this particular team, so that you can go through it. You can find the same example over there. It is a total wiper travel of 120 mm. So with respect to the earlier nomenclature, we can say this is nothing but xt. Xt is given by 120 mm. During the measurement, the wiper moves between 20 mm to 40 mm. This is the movement. The wiper is moving from 20 to 60. It means the total wiper travel is generally given by 40 mm. This is the wiper motion. Now there are two parts. First part is if the voltmeter of 15 kilo ohm is used. 15 kilo ohm, that is the internal resistance of the voltmeter. So if I am writing RM, RM is equal to 15 kilo ohm. This is what they have given. Is used to read the output voltage of the transducer. How much error you can hope or you are getting in this case. So you have to find out the error due to the loading effect. So that is what you are interested in. This is what they have given. RP is given, XT is given, XI, that is the movement. Moment is 40 mm, so that is also given. RM is also given. You have to find out the error. So from this, generally error is what? Error is generally your ideal thing minus what actually you are getting divided by ideally how much you have and multiply by 100 into percentage. That is what percentage error mean in this case. Ideal voltage minus actual voltage upon ideal voltage into 100%. Ideal voltage means whenever you connect a voltmeter which has an internal resistance infinite. It means in the normal circumstances how much VI you will get, that is your ideal. And VA is the actual voltage in which you are going to connect a voltmeter which has an internal resistance of 15 kilo ohm, and then you have to find out the actual voltage. This is what we are interested in. So what they have given is, this is your RP. This is the moment. Now what I'll do is, the moment is 20 mm to 60 mm. It means the net moment is only 40 mm. આ વસ્તુ બહુ ઇમ્પોર્ટન્ટ. આ છે ને લિનિયર ટ્રાન્સડ્યુસર છે, એટલે 120 mm નું ટોટલ વાઇપર ટ્રાવેલ છે, એટલે 120 mm is the total travel. We are interested in 40 mm only, that is 20 to 60. Now whether this from 20 to 60 or whether it is from 60 to 100 or whether it is from 40 to 80, whether it is from 80 to 120, કોઈ પણ હોય, for every 40 mm travel you will get the same change in resistance. That is what you have to remember. એવું નહીં કે 20 થી 60 છે તો 40 mm છે તો આપણને રેઝિસ્ટન્સ કંઈક અલગ મળે, અને 60 થી 100 હોય તો ભલે ટ્રાન્સફર તો 40 mm જ થયું છે તો રેઝિસ્ટન્સ અલગ, એવું નહીં. This is the linear resistance, so that whenever the net travel of the slider is 40 mm, it means on the entire slider, on the entire potentiometer, whenever the slider moves by 40 mm, you will get the same change in resistance. હવે અહીંયા કેટલો આવે, let's see that. હવે આપણે જે લાસ્ટ ઇક્વેશન ડિરાઈવ કર્યું એમાં આપણે જોયું R2 આપણે ફાઇન્ડ કરવો હોય, R2 you can K into RP, આપણે એવું લખતા હતા. So what is K? K is the XI by XT. તો અહીંયા K કેટલો આવશે? That is 40 by 120. 40 by 120. And suppose if you want to find out R2, it is K into RP. હવે RP કેટલું છે? RP you have 24 kilo. So 12,200. So you will get R2, that is your unknown resistance or the wiper travel resistance, that is 8 kilo ohm. આ ખ્યાલ આવે છે ને દરેકને? It is 40 by 120. આપણે આજે ઇક્વેશન લીધું ને આની અંદર, here we have seen this resistance, આ resistance ને આપણે શું કીધું? It is K into, sorry, this resistance is K into RP. And what is K? K is XI by XT, and RP is the total potentiometer resistance. So here in this we have done the same thing. K is 40 by 120. 40 is your Viper travel on the output side, that is Xi. Xt is 120 and Rp is 24 kilo ohm. So if you do this, you can find out that your R2 is given by 8 kilo ohm. This is the first output, or this is the first finding from your for the calculation of your error. So this is what is already done. This is your K 40 by 120 and this is Rp. And then you will get the value of R, that is called 8 kilo ohm. So it means you are interested in the output across the 8 kilo ohm resistance. So in this case, what I can write is, ideally, what you can get is your output resistance, your Viper travel resistance called 8 kilo ohm, multiply by E. E, suppose EI, that is your excitation, and divided by that total resistance. So that is 24. If I'll simplify this, whatever I'll get, that is your ideal voltage. આપણને ideally કેટલા મળવા જોઈએ? તો આજ circuit તમે જુઓ. Here, see this circuit. Now suppose there is no voltmeter and I am going to find out the voltage across this E0. So E0 કેટલો આવશે? E0 is equal to R2 અને R2 નામ આપીએ આપણે, R2 upon RP into EI. આવું થશે, that is your output. Now I am doing the same thing over here. R2, that is 8, Rp is 24, and excitation is written by EI. So if you simplify this, you will get your ideal output, that is 0.3333 E. Now E can be anything. E means excitation. Excitation તમે 5 વોલ્ટ આપ્યું હોય, 10 વોલ્ટ આપ્યું હોય, 12 વોલ્ટ આપ્યું, જેટલું પણ આપ્યું છે, you just have to multiply it. અહીંયા આપણે E assume કર્યું છે, કારણ કે whenever you find out the error નું equation આપણે જોયું, E is equal to VI minus VA upon VI, એટલે voltage છે એ ultimately cancel out થઈ જશે. That's why we have assumed that excitation is given by E. So this is first finding, that is your V ideal. Now second finding is, whenever you put a voltmeter which has an internal resistance of 15 kilo ohm, હવે voltmeter મૂકવાનું છે, એટલે હવે resistance ખાલી આટલો નહીં રહે. આ resistance હતો, એમાં હવે એક બીજો resistance parallel માં add થશે. આ resistance ની value કેટલી છે? 15 kilo ohm. આ resistance ની value છે 8 kilo ohm. Total resistance છે 24 kilo ohm. Then what will be this resistance? આ કેટલો થશે? R1. What is R1?
16.
Yes, it's 16. આપણે derive કર્યું ત્યારે પણ કીધું ને કે આ 24 હોય, 8 છે, તો 24 minus 8, that will be your 16. Clear?
Yes.
So here you don't have only 8K, but you have a parallel combination of 8 and 15. આ બંનેનું હવે parallel combination picture માં આવશે. બરાબર? This is the parallel combination. So first you have to solve this thing. Now first, whenever you put a voltmeter which has an internal resistance of 15 kilo ohm, now this 15 kilo ohm generally lies in parallel with this particular resistance 8 kilo ohm, that is your R2. R2 and RM nu parallel combination થઈ ગયું. So R2 in parallel with RM. So if you solve this, you will get the combined resistance called RC. So 15 into 8 upon 15 plus 8. So this will be your combined equivalent resistance, that is 5.217 kilo ohm. It means now the voltage which earlier you are getting, that is the voltage across 8 kilo ohm resistance. આપણને 8 kilo ohm across માં મળતા હતા, પણ હવે જે વોલ્ટેજ મળવાના છે એ 5.217 kilo ohm ના across માં મળવાના છે. It means if I'll write the equation for this, it is 5.217 into E upon total resistance. Now total resistance માં આપણે જોયું, it is a combination of two things. હવે અહીંયા 5 and 8 નું combination which is called RC, and our resistance કેટલો છે? 16 kilo ohm. So the combination is 16 kilo ohm plus RC. So that is 24 minus 8 plus RC, that is 5.217. So in that case, if you find out the voltage, you will get 0.2459 E. See the difference. Ideally, you are hoping that the voltage will be 0.3333 E, but actually you are getting 0.2459 E. And if you put this equation in this error form, then it is ideal minus actual upon ideal. And if you solve this, you can find out, or you can come to the conclusion that due to this particular phenomena, you are getting an error of 26.22% in the measurement. Clear? So see how much error you are getting just by putting the resistance or voltmeter which has an internal resistance of 15 kilo ohm, while your measurement is 8 kilo ohm. તમે 8 kilo ohm across માં measure કરો છો અને resistance છે 15 kilo ohm, એટલે double જેટલો resistance મૂકો તો પણ see the error. The error which you are getting is around 26.22%. Clear? So that is the first part. Now see the second part. Now second part is very interesting, and that is what generally an engineer will do. તમે જ્યારે કોઈ ડિઝાઇનિંગ કરો ત્યારે તમે એવું ના કરો કે ભાઈ ચલો વોલ્ટમીટર પહેલા લગાવી દો 15 કિલો ઓહમનું અને ફાઇન્ડ આઉટ કરો કે એરર કેટલી આવે છે. તમે જ્યારે કોઈ ડિઝાઇનિંગ કરતા હોય તમારી સિસ્ટમ માટે ત્યારે તમે કમ્પોનન્ટ ચૂઝ કરો. એટ ધેટ ટાઈમ યુ હેવ ટુ ચૂઝ ધ કમ્પોનન્ટ, and in order to choose the right component, you have to look for what is your requirement. That is why whenever you are making any project, whenever you are making any designing, we always used to give some specification. આપણે હંમેશા કંઈક સ્પેસિફિકેશન આપીએ કે ભાઈ એમ્પ્લીફાયર બનાવો જેની ગેઇન 100 હોય, જેનું બેન્ડવિડ્થ છે એ 10 કિલો ઓહમ હોય, એવું આપણે તમને કંઈક 10 કિલો હર્ટ્ઝ હોય, એવું આપણે તમને સ્પેસિફિકેશન આપીએ. તો એવી જ રીતે તમે જ્યારે કોઈ ડિઝાઇનિંગ કરો ત્યારે તમને સ્પેસિફિકેશન આપેલું હોય. ઇટ મીન્સ યુ ઓલરેડી હેવ દેટ કે ભાઈ તમને તમારે એવું ડિઝાઇનિંગ અથવા એવી સર્કિટ બનાવવાની છે અને વોલ્ટમીટર એવી રીતે વાપરવાનું છે કે જેથી કરીને સિસ્ટમની અંદર એરર છે એ 2-5% સુધી એક્સેપ્ટેબલ હોય. 26% એરર છે દેટ ઇઝ નોટ એક્સેપ્ટેબલ. એટલે પેલા વોલ્ટમીટર લગાવો, પછી એરર ફાઇન્ડ કરો, વોલ્ટમીટર લગાવો, એરર ફાઇન્ડ કરો, એમ કરતા કરતા જ્યારે 5% એરર આપતું હોય એ વોલ્ટમીટર રાખી મૂકો. દેટ ઇઝ ટ્રાયલ એન્ડ એરર મેથડ. But generally, what we have to do is error is fixed. That acceptable error is 5%. Now find out the voltmeter which has certain internal resistance which can only give error up to 5%. That is your job. That is your designing. And age apde karvanu hoy. So that is our second task. What it says, if the error due to the loading effect in the above instrumentation is to be kept within plus or minus 3%, then what should be the internal resistance of voltmeter? That is the designing part. આને કહેવાય designing. It means હવે આ જ એક્ઝામ્પલનું આપણે થોડુંક સમજીએ. આ જે પહેલો પાર્ટ છે એના ઉપરથી બીજો પાર્ટ કઈ રીતે કરવાનો એ થોડું જોઈએ. પહેલા પાર્ટમાં શું છે, આપણને રેઝિસ્ટન્સ આપ્યો છે અને એરર ફાઇન્ડ કરી. હવે સેકન્ડમાં આપણને રેઝિસ્ટન્સ ખબર નથી અને એરર ખબર. ઇટ મીન્સ ધીસ ઇઝ નોન. આ વસ્તુ આપણને ખબર છે 3%. પણ આખા ઇક્વેશનમાં અનનોન શું છે? આઈડિયલ તો આ જ વસ્તુ રહેવાની. આઈડિયલ કંઈ ફરવાનું નથી. એકચ્યુઅલની અંદર જે આ પાર્ટ આવે છે ને દેટ ઇઝ અનનોન. બરાબર, આ અનનોન છે. હવે આ લઈને આપણે થોડું આગળ જઈએ અહીંયા, તો આ ઇક્વેશનમાં આ 16 નોન છે, આ આપણે અહીંયાથી ફાઇન્ડ આઉટ કરશું, કારણ કે આ પાર્ટ આપણને ખબર છે એટલે આ પાર્ટ આપણે ફાઇન્ડ કરશું. ધીસ ઇઝ અનનોન. બરાબર, આ ફાઇન્ડ કરીને પછી અહીંયા આપણે વેલ્યુ મૂકશું એની. તો આ ઇક્વેશનમાં what is unknown? Unknown is this 5.217. This is unknown. Now from where the 5.217 came? It came from here. હવે આમાં શું unknown છે? 8 kilo ohm, that is known. That is your output resistance or R2. જે વાઇપરનું ટ્રાવેલ થવાના કારણે રેઝિસ્ટન્સ આવે છે that is R2. It is known. But what is unknown? That is 15. So for finding this particular thing from here, again તમે અહીંયા મૂકશો, then you can find out this value of 15. This is the reverse process. આમાં અહીંયા ખબર હતી એટલે આપણે આગળ વધી શકીએ આ રીતે, અને અહીંયા આપણને ખબર નથી એટલે અહીંયાથી આપણે આખું ઉલટી પ્રોસેસ કરવાની છે. So let's see that. Now again the target is to keep the error 3%. What we have to find out is we have to find out the unknown resistance Rm. So અહીંયા કીધું એમ these things are known. આ 26 હતું, અહીંયા આપણે 3% છે, આ ખબર છે. So by solving this we can find out this. અહીંયા જે આ હતું અહીંયા આપણે unknown છે, VCX એને નામ આપ્યું, અહીંયા VC હતું. So VCX અહીંયા તમે સોલ્વ કરશો then you are getting VCX 0.3233E. સિમ્પલ અહીંયાથી આપણે વસ્તુ સમજીએ તો પણ કહી શકાય કે પહેલા જ્યારે એકચ્યુઅલ આઉટપુટ છે એ 0.2459 આવતું હતું અને અહીંયા આઉટપુટ કેટલું આવે છે 0.3233. સી ધ ડિફરન્સ. એકચ્યુઅલ ઇન્ડિકેશન પહેલા જ્યારે આઈડિયલ ઇન્ડિકેશન 0.3333 હતું ત્યારે એકચ્યુઅલ ઇન્ડિકેશન 0.2459 હતું, પણ અહીંયા આઈડિયલ ઇન્ડિકેશન 0.3333 છે ત્યારે એકચ્યુઅલ ઇન્ડિકેશન 0.3233. સી ધ ડિફરન્સ. બહુ જ ઓછો ડિફરન્સ છે. હવે અહીંયાથી આપણે આગળ જઈએ આ ઇક્વેશનમાં. અહીંયા ધીસ ઇઝ અનનોન, ધેટ અનનોન ઇઝ ગિવન બાય RCX. એટલે આ વસ્તુ જે અહીંયાથી છે અહીંયાથી અહીંયા મૂકી છે અને બદલે અહીંયાથી અહીંયા કરીએ. સો this 0.3233 comes over here. The same equation RCX upon 16 plus RCX into E. Now if you solve this equation in form of RCX, you are getting 7.6442K. હવે અહીંયા જવાનું છે. RCX is given. Now you have to find out RM. So RCX is equal to RM. RM ને RMX 8 into RMX upon 8 plus RMX. પહેલા 8 into 15 upon 8 plus 15 કર્યું હતું. આમાં થોડું અલગ કરવાનું. RM ને સૂત્રનો કરતા બનાવી. It takes on left side. RCX goes on right side. If you solve this particular equation by putting this value over here, you came with this particular figure. It is called 172 kilo ohm. That is your internal resistance of voltmeter. Here internal resistance is 15 kilo ohm. 15 kilo ohm. At that time you are getting an error of 26.22%. And whenever you keep the internal resistance of 172 kilo ohm, at that time error reduces up to 3%. See the magic, see the difference. From 15 kilo ohm you are getting major error in 2 digits, more than 25%. And while you are having 172 kilo ohm, so if your internal resistance, your measurement resistance, that is 8 kilo ohm R2, with respect to 8 kilo ohm, this is somewhere around 20 times. Clear? More than 20 times. And this is more than 2 times or around 2 times. So whenever you keep the resistance 2 times, you are getting 2-digit error, 26%. And whenever you are putting 20 times resistance, then you are getting single-digit error, that is again less than 5%. This is the difference. So by keeping the internal resistance of the voltmeter as high as possible, you can keep the loading effect or the error due to the loading effect as low as possible. That is the basic requirement of resistive transducer. જ્યારે પણ resistive transducer use કરો, always you have to look for this particular thing. આના સિવાય બીજું એક એક્ઝામ્પલ છે, એ તમે તમારી રીતે જોઈ લેજો બુકમાં. અત્યારે આપણે ડિસ્કસ નથી કરતા. ઓકે, so that is all about the inductive transducer, resistive transducer. Now we'll start with the inductive transducer. While we concentrate on inductive transducer, we consider 3 particular categorization. Just wait for a while. First category is LVDT, that is linear variable differential transformer. Second construction we'll choose is RVDT, that is rotational variable differential transformer. And third is the synchros. These are the 3 elements which we are going to study in this particular category. So first we are starting with this LVDT. So before understanding, what we can see is it is generally made up of 4 terms. There are 4 terms. That is what you can see here: linear, variable, differential, and transformer. It is one of the most commonly used type of transducer or the inductive transducer. It is an electromechanical device where you are hoping your mechanical motion is of the core is converted into the electrical output. Generally, it gives AC voltage output, which can be directly correlated with the displacement. So this is the construction for understanding the basics of LVDT. So again, we'll come back to here. It is generally made up of 4 terms: linear, variable, differential, and transformer. Can anyone want to discuss about what, why, or what all these four term indicates? Linear relation, variable, differential, transformer. ચારે નો શું meaning છે?
Sir, it's measure a linear displacement, and variable is here we displace our road is various point, like we in resistive transducer we see that our displacement is fixed, but here is a variable displacement of our core, and differential is that here we used primary is a one winding, and secondary is a two winding, and here is transformer. Basically it's made like a transformer, that is no contact with primary winding to secondary winding.
Oh, okay, good. પારસ અગેરા તમે કઈ બોલશો?
સેમ સર.
સેમ નહીં, તમારી રીતે બોલો.
એટલે સર લિનિયર મોશનમાં તે ડિસ્પ્લેસર હોય, કોર હોય તે મૂવમેન્ટ કરે અને અલગ અલગ વેરિયેબલ આપણે એમાં યુઝ કરી શકીએ, અને ત્રણ વાઇડિંગ હોય, પ્રાઇમરી, સેકન્ડરી અને બીજી એક અલગ હોય. અને ટ્રાન્સફોર્મર જેવું એનું કન્સ્ટ્રક્શન હોય એટલે ટ્રાન્સફોર્મર.
ઓકે, ગુડ. ચાલો. So linear, as one of you has rightly mentioned, it is suitable for linear motion or translational motion. Variable is generally the way in which it varies the conduction between the primary and secondary. So here variable is generally a term which is generally used to describe the change in the mutual induction, the way in which primary and secondaries are connected. Differential is generally due to the fact that we are using two secondaries, and secondaries are connected in such a way that due to the movement of the road or the core, one of the output is increasing while other is reducing. They both are connected in a series opposition, so that is a differential connection. Transformer is due to the fact that the way in which the primary and secondaries are connected, the way just like the transformer where they are indirectly in contact with two sides, that is primary and secondary. So the same thing here, this is a transformer which has a primary and secondary winding, and this is the core which displaces. So this is your movable core which moves in this particular direction. In the vicinity of the transformer, this core, particular core will move, and whenever the core comes under the vicinity of this primary and secondary winding, the induced EMF on the secondary side will increases, and that EMF is generally related with the amount of area which is covered by this displacement road in the core of the transformer. That is the basic principle. If you look at the construction, this is how the LVDT looks like. You must have studied earlier. Primary winding, it is over here. This is your primary winding. Here we have two secondaries. Both the secondaries are placed on the two opposite sides. This is the first side, this is the second side. On the two opposite sides of the secondary, whenever the core moves with respect to this primary and secondary, the amount of conduction between the either side will increase. Suppose if the core is between this primary and secondary, then the maximum EMF will be induced on the second secondary, and whenever the core is in between the primary and the first secondary, then maximum EMF is induced on the first secondary. Now this movable core, why it gives maximum EMF? Because the core is generally made up of a material which gives high permeability, or which has a high permeability. Now permeability is generally defines or generally characterizes the way in which it opposes the magnetic flux linkage between the two sides. So high permeability means it allows to close the magnetic circuit easily. or it conducts maximum flux from two sides. Air has got a lowest permeability, means it generally restricts the connection between the two sides. But if you are using certain material, for example, in our case, we are going to use this nichrome or nickel iron alloy. That alloy generally has a high permeability, and this high permeability, it means it allows the conduction between the primary and secondary. This conduction is not the electrical conduction, it is a magnetic conduction. So whenever air is in between the two, it means it opposes the mutual induction between the two sides, and whenever the core is in between, at that time it facilitates the mutual induction between the two sides. Whenever we talk about this particular construction, we always have to look for excitation which we are giving on the primary side. We always say that in transformer the primary side is supplied with the 230 volt and 50 hertz, but while we are talking about the LVDT, the primary is excited by 1 to 15 volt, means we are talking about lower voltage and higher frequency, not like the other transformer where we are giving higher voltage and lower frequency, 230 volt 50 hertz. But here we are giving lower voltage, that is 1 to 15 volt, and the frequency is on say 50 hertz to 20 kilohertz, but most commonly we are giving 1 volt at 2 kilohertz to 10 kilohertz. That is the most common voltage and the frequency which we are giving on the primary side. Again, the input is of sine wave only. Input is of sine wave. If you look at the circuit diagram, it looks like this. Normally, this is EI, that is your excitation. This is the moment of core given by X. These are the two secondary, ES1 and ES2. Now this is your EI, that is your supplied voltage. It is just like as I have mentioned, it is a sinusoidal signal. Now whenever core is in exact null position or in the exact mid position, આપણે એમ કીધું કે જેમ core first અને second secondary વચ્ચે હોય તો આની અંદર EMF વધારે થશે, આની first secondary બાજુ હશે તો આમાં EMF વધારે આવશે. પણ ધારો કે ન આની સાથે છે ન આની સાથે, પણ exact middle માં હોય, at that time the amount of linkage on both the sides are equal. At that time what you are getting is your ES1, that is this output, and ES2, that is this output. See, both the outputs are same. Both the outputs are same. When core is in the null position, at that time corresponding voltages are ES1 and ES2 are same. That's why now the outputs are connected in such a way that your E0 will be given by ES1 minus ES2. E0 is given by ES1 minus ES2. Clear? It means whenever we say that ES1 minus ES2, it means the secondary coils are connected in such a way that they both opposes their own fluxes. So while we are talking about the coils, at that time this connection is generally called series opposition. Here you can see both of them are connected in series, but they are connected in opposition. So this is generally followed by the dot convention. Like this, coil ની અંદર પ્લસ કે માઇનસ કેપેસિટર ની જેમ એવો સિમ્બોલ ના આવે, પણ એની અંદર ડોટ કન્વેન્શન આવે. આ કોઇલ આ રીતે કનેક્ટ થાય તો આને કહેવાય સિરીઝ ઓપોઝિશન. ઇવન ધો they both are in series, but they opposes each other. Just a minute, just hold on. So even though both of them are in series, but they are connected in such a way that they opposes their own fluxes. So now see the difference. This is your again just like that, EI is somewhere like this, Now EO, whenever the core is in the null position, at that time what you are getting is something like this. And means whenever core is in the null position, if you will get something like this, ES1 minus ES2, it means you are getting output is 0. Now whenever core moves on upward direction, at that time so your output is something like this. And whenever it goes downward, see the change in the output. The output is reversed. If you plot this on the characteristic curve, what you will get is whenever it is on positive side, your output is like this. And whenever it goes from null position, whenever it goes downward, your output goes like this. This is how the characteristic looks like. Avi characteristic aave. But whenever you look at the actual characteristic, what we are taking is we are taking mode of E0. It means the output never goes on the negative side, but it always goes on positive side, but on the other direction. પહેલા આપણે આમ લીધું હતું. બરાબર? Considering that your output is not mode, but generally we used to take mode. So your output is always remaining on first and second quadrant. So ES1 minus ES2. So ideally what you are getting is, ideally you are hoping that your characteristic should look like this. આવી characteristic લાગવી જોઈએ. It means this is your null position. From the null position, whenever it goes on one side, your output keeps on increasing. Whenever it goes on the other side, your output keeps on increasing, but on the other side, so that you can, from this you can identify whether your direction is on the right side or whether it is on left side. That is what you can judge. But practically, see the difference. The first difference is your output is always non-zero. Even if in the null condition, what you are getting is non-null output or non-zero output. Your output is non-zero. Non-zero output. Now this non-zero is output is due to a fact called residual, or this voltage is called residual voltage. Clear? It is not zero, but it is somewhat more than zero. Now this residual voltage is generally produced or generated due to certain stray capacitance or the stray connections which are present between the primary and secondary side. And it is also due to the fact that your input does not contain only 50 Hz fundamental component, but it also has certain even and odd number of harmonics which are present on the input side, which ultimately affects, even if in the null condition, it generally gives certain output on your secondaries. It is just like the offset. You must have studied in op-amp that whenever you give zero input, at that time you hope that your output will also remain zero, but you always get some non-zero output, and that is due to some stray conditions which are present in the op-amp, or stray capacitance, or imbalance between the two sides, two inputs. Just like that, even though in the differential connection we are hoping that in the null condition output should remain zero, but due to certain harmonics which are present in the input and due to some stray connections which are there between the primary and secondary side, you are always getting some non-zero output, which is known as residual voltage. So that is the first thing. Now second thing is your output from the residual or the null point keeps on increasing, but after a certain point it keeps on falling. Just the same thing is true on the other side. It keeps on increasing till certain point, and after that it keeps on reducing. Now this particular thing is due to the fact that when you keep on taking, suppose this is your null position. If you go on the upward side, if you reach over here, then this is the point where you are getting maximum output. If you take this core further away from this maximum point, then the core is neither present between the primary and first secondary, nor it is present between the primary and the second secondary. અથવા આપણે અહીંયા રીતે સમજીએ, જેમ તમે આ કોર ને મૂવ કરો છો, મૂવ કરતા કરતા ધારો કે અહીંયા આવી જાય. Suppose the core is over here. It means now the core is not in between the primary and first secondary. Whenever it is at somewhere over here, you are getting maximum output. But whenever you keep on going away from that maximum output, then the thing which is present between the primary and secondary is not the core, but it is the air. And air generally opposes the flow of the magnetic path between the two sides. એટલે જેવું એર વચ્ચે આવી જશે, કોર નહીં આવે, એટલે મેગ્નેટિક કંડક્શન બંને વચ્ચે થશે નહીં. It means your EMF starts to reduce. So from the maximum point, if you keep or if you keep on taking the core away from that particular position, then your output starts to falling. The same thing is true on both the sides. Clear? So this is how your, instead of the ideal characteristic where you're hoping your output should look like this, but practically you are getting something like this. The normal range of this particular transducer is from minus 10 micrometer to plus or minus 10 mm. Means this transducer is used for smaller values. Okay, so I think we are ending today's discussion at this particular point. We'll keep on discussing about this displacement transducer in the next class. Again, we are getting a less number of people today. I think only 8-9 attendance or 9-10 people have joined. Again, I ask જેમ આપણે લાસ્ટ લેક્ચરમાં કીધું હતું એમ લોકોને કહો શક્ય હોય એટલું જોઈન કરે અટેન્ડ કરે કારણ કે
Okay, sir.
આવી જ રીતે ક્લાસ ચાલવાના છે. ઓકે, થેન્ક યુ ઓલ.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.